we go.
The twilight zone.
The regular meeting of the Mishawaka Common Council for September 21st, 2020 will please come to order. We are continuing to operate in conjunction with Governor Holcomb's Executive Order 2037 concerning face masks being worn here in City Hall when social distancing isn't possible, as it is with all of us here up here. And then also, we do note that we have at least one, if not more, members of the public who are taking advantage of our live stream of this evening's meeting. Members of the public are asked to place their microphone on mute during the meeting with the exception of any public hearing. At the appropriate point of the public hearing, I will let the public mute their microphone for purposes of submitting comments one person at a time. All persons wishing to make public comments will be asked to first state their name and address for the record, and after completing his or her public comments, the public will once again be asked to place their microphone on mute. Thank you in advance for everyone's cooperation with these altered procedures. And with that, we'll ask everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by a moment of silence in remembrance of the now more than 200,000 Americans who have lost their lives as a result of COVID-19.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. DeMade?
Here.
Mr. Benicki?
Here.
Mr. Hazen?
Here.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Here.
Mr. Emmons?
Here.
Mr. Belovich?
Here.
Mr. Compton?
Here.
Mrs. Volker?
Here.
Mr. Hicksonbaugh?
Here.
All council members are present in the chambers.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of September 8th, 2020. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, that they will stand as approved as received from the clerk's office. Thank you. Petitions, communications, remonstrance, and memorials.
Yes, Mr. President, we have a letter from the Board of Zoning Appeals regarding their recommendations from their September 8th, 2020 meeting. Honorable members, a regular meeting of the Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals was held on the above referenced date, at which time the following use variance was considered. Appeal number 2020-43, an appeal submitted by JV and Sue Peacock, Outpost Sports, requesting a use variance for 3602 Grape Road, number 11, to allow microblading services in an existing salon. The board, with a vote of 5-0, recommended approval. This is signed by Carrie Myers, Administrative Planner and Secretary to the Board of Zoning Appeals. We also have a letter from the City Plan Commission regarding recommendations from their September 9th, 2020 meeting. Honorable members, a regular meeting of the Mishawaka's Plan Commission was held on the above referenced date, at which time the following proposed ordinances were considered. Petition number 2020-18, a petition submitted by BFR owner and RFJ Auto T Properties LLC contingent purchaser requesting to rezone 4211 Grape Road from C1 General Commercial District to C4 Automobile Oriented Commercial District. Commission, with a vote of 7-0, recommended approval. Petition number 2020-19, a petition submitted by Richard LaFree seeking to amend the Deer Run PUD to permit I-1 light industrial use on lots 2, 3, and 4. The commission, with a vote of 7-0, recommended approval, subject to the following conditions. If I may omit reading the lengthy conditions. Thank you.
Please do so.
Petition number 2020-20, a petition submitted by Lions Head Development, LLC, seeking to annex and zone 15165, 15195, and 15201 Cleveland Road, Granger, to R3 Multifamily Residential District. The commission, with a vote of 7-0, recommended approval. Pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4-605, the Mishawaka Plan Commission hereby certifies to the Mishawaka Common Council the attached proposed ordinances regarding the above matters. This is signed by Carrie Myers, Administrative Planner and Secretary to the City Plan Commission.
Thank you. We have no report of any special committee this evening, so we'll move into ordinances on first reading.
Yes, Mr. President, we have proposed ordinance number 2020-30, an ordinance amending Chapter 137 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, is from time to time amended, commonly known as the Zoning Ordinance of 1966 of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is to rezone from C1 General Commercial District to C4 Auto-Oriented Commercial for an auto sales at 4211 North Grape Road.
Thank you. Proposed ordinance number 2020-30 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-31, an ordinance amending Chapter 137 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, as from time to time amended, commonly known as the Zoning Ordinance of 1966 of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana. This is Deer Run PUD amendment to permit I-1 light industrial uses in vacant property at southwest corner of Deer Run Drive, South and Fur Road.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-31 will also be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-32, an ordinance annexing contiguous territory to the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, and providing zoning classification therefore. This is annexation and rezoning for a proposed multifamily townhome development, 15165, 15195, and 15201 Cleveland Road.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-32 will be assigned to the Land Use Planning Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-33, the civil city budget and tax levy for 2021.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-33 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-34, an ordinance amending the salaries of all employees of the City of Mishawaka, except the Mishawaka Park Department, elected officials, and the Mishawaka Utilities for the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, for the year beginning January 1st, 2021.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-34 will be assigned to the Budget and Finance Committee. Resolutions.
Resolution 2020-19, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, introducing an ordinance for annexation, adopting a written fiscal plan, and a definite policy for annexation for the property located at 1141 and 1241 East 12th Street, Mishawaka, Indiana, located south of those two pieces of property.
Thank you. This is a public hearing on proposed resolution 2020-19. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward. Good evening, Mr. Prince.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council, Ken Prince, City Planner. First tonight, I want to thank Krista Hill in my office who prepared the fiscal plan that you reviewed prior to this evening. As you're aware, the property is located south of the Adorn facility on 12th Street. Two parcels, one on the southwest corner, the other on the southeast corner. The total amount of acreage is 3.46 acres. In compliance, state law requires a minimum of 12.5% adjacency to the city. Consider annexation. Parcel 1 has a contiguity of 61%. Parcel 2, 50%. And we'll note that all our city departments have reviewed the request and have identified that no additional funds or projects are necessary for the annexation. This is essentially a enlarging of the Adorn site for their future expansion. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the council for Mr. Prince? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the chambers physically present who wishes to speak in favor of the proposed resolution? If you would, please come forward.
My name is Terry Lang from Lang, Feeney and Associates. Our address is 715 South Michigan Street in South Bend. I represent the petition before you. As Ken had indicated, there were two parcels that had never been included as part of the city. They're in the process of getting ready to do a building expansion on the site. It came to light that those two small parcels had been left out of the city for some reason. So we're going through the process of annexing them, and the ability then we will be preparing a plat, merging the parcels all together, and there'll be a large building expansion kind of connecting those two buildings together in the future right there. It's the game plan.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Lang? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Is there anyone else physically present who wishes to speak in favor of proposed resolution 2020-19? Seeing no one, is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor of proposed resolution 2020-19? If so, please begin by unmuting your microphone and state your name and address for the record. Hearing no one, is there anyone physically present who wishes to speak in opposition to the proposed resolution? We will then move to anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition to the proposed resolution. If so, please unmute your microphone. Thank you. Are there any council members who wish to speak? If not, then I call for the question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Higginbotham?
Yes.
The resolution passes 9-0. Resolution 2020-20, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, approving a petition of the Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at 3602 Grape Road, number 11. This is a use variance to allow microblading inside an existing salon, and that would be Root Salon.
Thank you. This is a public hearing on proposed resolution 2020-20. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please begin by unmuting your microphone and stating your name and address for the record. Is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor of proposed resolution 2020-20 regarding 3602 Grape Road, Suite 11?
There is a caller that has unmuted their microphone.
If there is someone wishing to speak on this proposed resolution, if you would begin by stating your name and address for the record, we can proceed. One more time, I'll inquire if there is anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak with regard to the resolution on 3602 Grape Road, Suite 11, which is the Roots Salon. All right. In light of the fact that we don't have a petitioner at this point, the chair would entertain a motion to postpone.
So moved.
Second.
A motion has been made and seconded to postpone the public hearing on proposed resolution 2020-20. Mr. Compton, do you have a date certain in mind that you'd like to postpone it to our next
To
regular
the next
council meeting?
regular meeting.
Perfect.
Hopefully we'll,
Then under
Yeah,
Mr. Compton's motion that's been seconded, this will be postponed until our next regular council meeting. Any further discussion or questions from the council? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This matter will be postponed until our next regularly scheduled council meeting. Ordinances on second reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2020-28, an ordinance annexing contiguous territory to the city of Mishawaka, Indiana, and providing zoning classification therefore. This is to annex adjacent property to be included in a subdivision south and east of 1141 and 1241 East 12th Street. This is a vote only.
Thank you. Consistent with the requirements of state law, we have conducted a public meeting, or I'm sorry, a public hearing on this matter, and also received our committee report.
No.
And we have not, then we will ask for the committee report.
Mr. President,
Mr. Emmons.
to the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Land Use Planning, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 20-28, report that they have examined said matter and that in their opinion, it should be adopted. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for acceptance.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve our only committee report this evening that I evidently forgot about. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now we will move into questions and comments from the council with respect to proposed ordinance 2020-28. Mr. Benicki.
I just have one for Mr. Prince. That little area, is there other island properties that are still in the county that are totally surrounded by the city?
Mr. President, members of council, Ken Prince, city planner. Yes, we have quite a few. And what happens is as we grow over time, the way annexation law is now set up, essentially people have to agree, you have to voluntarily annex your property in order for it to come in. We have some this is actually a very, not a very large, it is a large island that is kind of, you take St. Jerome at the dead end, the area, the Crispin property includes a lot of it, but then there's also the auto repair place on Merrifield. There are a number of properties that are surrounded by the larger city, but this is one of those islands. There's a small island on University Drive by Granger Community Church. If you look down Fur Road, on the west side of Fur Road, there are some large islands that were created when we annexed Fur Road and brought in the area. One of them is the area where the Cheer Academy, the PUD amendment that you have that is read in first reading tonight. The area behind that is another large island. There are others too, but I'll stop at that.
But I mean, so basically they have to almost request. We can't clean things up, so to speak.
Per our policy, we have not investigated. There is, or at least used to be, I haven't verified annexation law relative to this in recent years, but there used to be a provision that if you entirely surround a property, that you have the ability to annex it without the consent of the property owners. However, you have to bring it up to current city standards. So when we look at subdivisions, and I use Winding Brook as an example, it's financially not feasible for us to annex it because we can't, without their agreement on a compromise on what services would be provided. And particularly, I'm talking about the roads. So the roads, no sidewalks, ripping up for utilities. There's a whole lot, millions of dollars of work that doesn't make it financially really feasible or desirable to annex it, to bring it into the city without their consent. So if they were to annex, by all means, we would consider it and take it on its merits. But barring that, if we were to do it by the surrounding provision, that is the cost prohibitive nature of annexation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Prince? Mr. Hazen.
So if they ask to be annexed in, you still have to bring them up to code and everything, our standards?
No, we then have the opportunity to negotiate with them on what that standard would be. Again, state law is not worded in a black and white term to address every circumstance. So by the loose term of bringing it up to city standards, you can imagine if I'm sitting in a subdivision I don't want to be annexed, I want the absolute highest grade of standard that I can possibly do, and I'll point to the half dozen subdivisions that have that in the city and say, that's the comparable standard that you should bring our subdivision to. Whereas if they're voluntarily requesting it, let's say they need sewer, then we have a basis of working with them because there's many areas of the city that don't have the same streets and sidewalks and the like that we can work to.
Thank you. Other questions for Mr. Prince? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the council? If not, then I will call for a question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. DeMade?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Hazen?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Belovich?
Yes.
Mr. Compton?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Hicksonball?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 9-0.
Privilege of the floor. At this time, members of the public are invited to speak with respect to non-agenda items only under privilege of the floor. Hearing no one, we will move into unfinished business, of which there is none, and then new business. Is there any new business to come before the council this evening? Mr. Mamalenti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just wanted to publicly wish our Madam Clerk a very happy birthday today.
Thank you.
Birthday. That's all.
I couldn't spend it with finer folks.
Oh, you smooth talker, you. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And thankfully, it's a quick meeting.
Yeah.
So you can go enjoy yourself.
Any other new business to come before the council this evening? If not, then a motion to adjourn is in order.
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you, folks.